Our mentor Pace says it best. Like when you take notes, you tattoo your brain. Somebody who's just starting out, just do it. Like if you want to get into real estate, figure out what lane you want to get into, go talk to that person and figure out how you can bring value and then bring it to them and make money with them. Follow my guy Edgar here. He's Edgar the connector, baby. If you're not connecting with this guy, you're not connecting with everybody because I promise you he knows somebody.
Hey, welcome. I'm Edgar the Connector, and this is the podcast Dream Start Own, the path to own your time with guest Paul Rodriguez. How's it going, man?
Super, super blessed, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for making time for little folk like me to be able to join you. You raising $1 million? What? What's going on there?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of really good things, man. My partner Mike and I were fortunate enough to partner with Liu Versanudo, and everybody from Houston's been showing so much love, and yeah, just super super blessed recently, brother. Super happy.
That's fantastic, dude. So
Yeah.
you're not in real estate, right? We're an honors club. You're not in sub two, are you?
No, no, I'm not.
Are you in Gator?
Nope, just OC,
No.
baby.
So you went to squad ups on that last year. How'd you get your ears on that? What made you go there?
Well, I kind of started my real estate journey because initially I found Jamil Damji. I saw him dressing up as a genie on Instagram. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I saw it, which ultimately that led to me um, meeting my partner again. He's my best friend from high school. And I called him one day and I was like, let's start a wholesale business. So Jamil brought me into the community. And then eventually I found Pace Morby's YouTube channel. So I started watching a lot of Pace's content. I learned about creative finance and kind of all the cool ways that you can make money on a real estate transaction. And then yeah, one day I just saw in like the middle of a video, I think it was one of those the videos that Jerry Norton and Pace did. I got an ad. And they're like, "Hey, we're doing Squad Up Summit. You guys got to come down and check this big real estate conference out." And it was the best decision I ever made. I made so many amazing connections, like meeting you, meeting Leuver, meeting all these amazing individuals, and it's led me down a tremendous path.
Hey, I think that's a good choice. You went to Squad Up and then being able to join something high level like Owners Club. You and your buddy Mike. You and Mike partner up. You guys are part of Veterans Choice Investments, right?
First investments, you got it. Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. You're doing stuff for veterans. What's that business about?
Yeah, so first, it kind of started as Mike and I thinking about our legacy and what do we want to leave behind for our children. So I'm a man of faith. I believe in the Bible. I believe in God, and in the Bible it says you need to leave your children land and wealth, right? And I really didn't understand what that meant when I first read it and interpreted it, and it didn't really give that impact. And then one day, Mike and I just decided to sit down and talk about our goals, right? And so our goal was to create a machine for our business that prints cash, right? I think that's every business owner's first idea. They're like, hey, how do I get active income? How do I start getting checks every month? And so we started wholesaling. That was the start of our business. And since the inception, it's grown to more than that. We realize that wholesale is awesome, but just assignment of contract is not really a super solid business model, right? Like it's an exit strategy. It's not really a business model. And so I continuously had these interactions where I talk to people, I do a deal with somebody, like I'd sell them a deal, and then they would say, "Wow, man, I wish you had some type of investment that I could invest my money in." And every single time I'd be like, well, yeah, I don't really do that. Like, and I would just totally miss the opportunity to leave the money on the table because I didn't understand what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. Like you have to have multiple buckets to catch the rain that's falling from the sky. Um, and so, yeah, we recently pivoted, I'd say in the last 6 months away from the transactional side of real estate and more focusing on raising capital. And so I didn't know how we wanted to do it, but while we were wholesaling, I was just learning about capital raising. And so I watched every single video the Owners Club had for raising capital, for doing PML deals, for being a private money partner. I'm like watching all these videos, and Jose Cortez was like, hey, you need to check out fractional. And so I went down that rabbit hole and started looking at just different ways we could pivot in our business. And so now we full time raise capital. We really don't do any wholesale. And it's the best decision that we've made. And that all stemmed from going to Squad Up Summit last year.
Fantastic. So April, right, was Squad Up Summit last year?
Yeah.
So it's about a year almost. We're at 10 months, and you've pivoted quite a few changes, right? You went from wholesaling to sub to, Mike said before you guys have a rental, right? That's paying out pretty good cash flow every month,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that one deal.
we hold one note, and basically we bought it sub 2, and, we sold it on a wrap, so we hold the note, creatively, basically, and so, yeah, we profit like 2 grand every month on the cash flow just from holding that note, and that has been our operating expenses in the beginning of our business, like, we weren't really doing a whole lot of wholesale deals, like, that was paying for the majority of our business, and we still have it to this day. We It's like the best investment ever is the one that you can continuously get that reoccurring income from.
Heck yeah, man. It's rare that you find something that cash flows that much off of just one property, dude. Mike told me about it. Hey, y'all watch Mike's podcast on this
Yeah, yeah.
channel here. Give Paul a like, please, and give us a subscribe. It's free and it helps out with the channel, and we'll get Paul out some more eyes, and maybe some more eyes for myself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow my guy Edgar here. He's Edgar the connector, baby. If you're not connecting with this guy, you're not connecting with everybody because I promise you he knows somebody.
Thank you, thank you,
Absolutely.
Paul. So yeah, you've pivoted quite a few times, and I don't blame you. It's hard. I'm pivoting as well. I mean, I have an Airbnb. I have multiple things, but I don't know what I want to focus on. I do something, and then I get the first one, and I get the proof of concept, and then I'm like, I want to do something else. Like you guys started
Yeah.
doing capital raising in the last 3 weeks. I think I've been thinking about maybe I should focus more on that because everybody I talk to, hey, I need more
Mm.
money. I need money. I need money. PML, not these crazy rates.
Yep.
So if you can do better rates than hard money lenders, then you can easily make money by connecting people. And Edgar's a connector, so let's go. It just kind of falls into place, right?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways you can do it too. Like, if you can find rates better than the hard money you're getting right now, that's an awesome way to make money in raising capital. But you can also look at it from a creative perspective, right? If somebody already has really great rates for their hard money, so like let's say for example, Leuver has a phenomenal hard money lender that he pays 2 points up front and they charge him like 10% interest. Okay, that's pretty good for hard money. The great thing about them is they're okay seconds. They're okay with the second lender in the second position, right? And so what that flexibility allows us to do is then go out and get gap funding, right? So basically we'll collateralize loan. We'll basically say, "Hey, listen, if you're willing to pay for the renovations on this property, we can give you a double digit return on your money and it's collateralized in the equity that we have in the portfolio." And so when we changed our mindset to just being like 100% finance with PMLs to then balancing it with hard money and PMLs, dude, like our business has skyrocketed since then.
It was fantastic to hear that. What do you usually charge? Do you get equity? Or are you charging a flat fee, a connection fee? How's that work? If you don't mind me asking.
No, no, I don't mind you asking at all. So it varies, right? So my thing, right? I believe in ownership. So I'm always fighting for equity. So that's a conversation every single time we raise capital. We're saying, hey, listen, I want to give everything I can to you. You know, I wanna make sure that you have all the money that you need, all the relationships, all the all the people that you would maybe need to be connected with. I wanna make sure that I provide that for you. And the only way that I can feel as super confident as I can is being a partner on the project because I have skin in the game, right? Whether it's sweat equity, whether I'm putting an investment, like a liquid cash investment into the project, I want to have some skin in the game because ultimately nobody's going to care more about your stuff than you. And so that's the conversation I like to have with people and just say, hey, listen, I'll raise your capital for you. And I have no problem taking a flat fee. I have no problem making the spread on the interest rate if that's what it looks like. But ultimately, I want to partner with you. I don't work with everybody because I really feel like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Right. And so if I'm surrounding myself with these people that like Liuver, right? Guy owns an 8-figure portfolio. He's getting a ton of cash flow every month because he understands how to structure deals. So I'm like, if I want to be like that guy, I'm just going to go to him and provide as much value as I possibly can without asking him what he needs. I just figure it out. And that's been really a great experience. And that's something that I wish that somebody told me this like 2, 3 years ago on how to do it. But this is a result of Owners Club and Swat Up. I mean, it all comes back. It's like the butterfly effect, you know?
Could you do it by yourself?
No, no. I actually have a quote on my wall that says, if you want to go far, go with other people, but if you want to go fast, go alone. Right. And if you switch it around, if you go, you can go fast. You can burn out just as fast though if you're trying to work by yourself. But when you have other people that are supporting you, other people that can give you guidance and cut your learning curve in half, that is the way to do it. Like, I know you and I hear the term collaboration over competition. Like, that alone has changed my mindset on a lot of things because I used to think that I had to put, 80 hours a week into the business for it to succeed, and the reality is I should be putting way less than that, like a quarter of that in, and I should be delegating all the things that I don't need to do for myself anymore, right? Like the outreach and the lead generation. You don't need to do that if you're at a place where you can provide enough value that you don't have to do it anymore. It's good to learn, but it's better to delegate.
Fantastic information, fantastic tips. You're not asking somebody what they need, but figuring out what
Yes.
they need. So,
Yeah.
in Lever's case, how did you figure out what he needed?
So I forget how we got Liuver on the podcast. I don't remember who reached out to him. I don't know if it was Mando, if it was me, it was Mike. I don't know who reached out to him, but he comes on our group podcast, right? Which is something that hey, you guys need to check out. It's called the Owners Club Roundtable, which Edgar is going to be on next week. By the way, we're doing podcasts back to back, baby. Uh, but yeah, he comes on the pod, bro, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm doing this thing. I've got all these partners. We're doing a really, really great job of creating a ton of value in Houston. We're providing affordable housing. Like we give back to veterans, we give back to all of these different, like he gives back to veterans, he gives back to, at risk youth. He does all these amazing philanthropy projects because he cares. Right? So for me, it was like check, 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 like every box, like the veteran stuff, being able to provide affordable housing is like the number one project for my partner Mike and I because we understand the trauma that veterans go through. You go out, you fight, and then you come back, and everybody looks at you different, and you're not the same, and you have a tough time assimilating back into society and being in a normal community because you tick differently. You don't think the same way that people around you think. And so we're trying to develop is a relationship with those people, but more importantly, a community of those people that can all feel comfortable with each other and give back. I feel like a lot of times veteran suicide is related to financials, right? In some way, shape, or form. A lot of times, like a divorce, right? And then you got to pay somebody money. You're making less money than you did. And then you start falling behind on bills. Maybe you lose your house. It's just like if you could avoid all of that, just having the financial literacy piece, you could have such a great impact. You can save so many lives. And so when Liuver comes on the podcast, he talks about his goals, his aspirations, where his business is at. And I'm taking down notes. I'm writing everything down. And I'm like, this guy is exactly where I want to be in the next 2 to 3 years. Like he's built his portfolio with his partners and his business in 5 years, right? But it took him 5 years because he didn't have someone holding his hand in the process. So I had a conversation with him. I literally just called him out of the blue. I didn't text him. I didn't DM him on Instagram. I called him because he gave me his number on the podcast. And I said, "Yo, Leover, it's Paul. How are you?" And he said, "Hey, what's up, my brother? How are things?" And I'm like, "Hey, things are going really great. Um, I want to work with you. And I don't know what that looks like, but you and I need to work with each other." Like it was like that Wolf of Wall Street where he's like, "You show me your pay stub, I'll quit my job right now." And then the
Right?
next scene is, "Hey, Larry, so not coming in tomorrow."
Right?
Like that's how it felt, bro. I was so motivated. And so he was like, all right, let's hop on a Zoom tomorrow, right? He's like, it was like 7 o'clock at night. He's like, I'm walking a project right now. I have to go to a meetup after that. And then I have to put my girls to bed. I got to do the dad thing. And then
Right.
we'll catch up tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I call him, or we get on the Zoom call the next day, and he was like, "I'm gonna tell you exactly what I need." And I was like, "You don't even have to, brother. You need capital raised for you. I heard everything you said on the podcast. You got great hard money. You need PMLs. How can I help?" And he was just like, "You already figured out what I needed?" And I was like, "Yes, let's get to work. You need PMLs. I can help you do that. I'll be the connector." And he's like, "Okay, bro, but I don't work with just anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody that we work with has to be solid in some way, shape, or form. Like, we don't work with newbies unless we are the ones providing them the opportunity, right? Like, we're not going to go capital raise for somebody that doesn't have the experience and could potentially tank that person's investment, right? So if you're like a lender, for I'll give you a really great example. If you're a lender, right, and on a PML deal, you're charging more than 20%, you're really faced with 2 options. Do you want a 20% return, or do you want your money back? Like, it's just not realistic for people that do repeat business, okay?
Right.
And so what Lever's taught me is you have to understand how to talk to people, but more importantly, you have to do it from a perspective of how can we benefit each other, right? You have something going on, I have something going on. How can we help each other? And when you always have that mindset, bro, business is just easy. Like you knock it out of the park every day because you guys are trying to grow together. So I
Dude,
want to ask you something, man.
fantastic information. Go ahead.
I know you're pivoting, and I know you're successful regardless, right? Because I've seen the consistency in everything, in the deals, I in the consistency at you showing up on social media. So I want to ask you, bro, like, what's your why? Why do you show up? Like, what's your motivation?
I think when we were in Arizona, that the retreat we had there was when I was really thinking about it. Because one thing I noticed that I really like to do is learn things and then teach others. And my why is I didn't have somebody to do that for me. So I'm always reaching out, trying to help out other people. But a lot of times I don't take advantage of that to help myself out as well, though.
Yeah, dude, that's great that you had that self-realization, like the ability to realize that about yourself because man, I'll tell you what, I was kind of in a similar mindset prior to joining Owners Club and everything. I really didn't see the same value in a lot of the stuff that we're doing. Like learning how to set up your calendar. Like that in itself gives you the why, right? Because it's like you just figure out whatever my end goal is, I'll just do every single step until it takes to get there, right? So then I just break that down into what I do every day. So it's like little stuff like that I've learned that's really created the why for me as well. But that's great to hear, man. And what do you think you're going to pivot into? Do you think capital raising is something that you're thinking about going full time into, or at least dipping the toes a little bit?
Yeah, dipping my toes. Actually, I have a deal that I'm working with Brenda. Brenda builds wealth, right? Via Franco. She was on the podcast. She's actually I've been doing Gator deals with her. So she's been Gator wrestling, and I've sent her the funds. And I've recently started talking to a coworker and got some funds from him to pick up the one. So it's the first step. It's a small little step, a small little building block, but I'll eventually pivot to there. But yeah, probably the last 3 weeks, I've kind of slowed down on it to try to figure out where I'm going. We had one Morby method deal go bad, so we're kind of like in litigation with that right now, trying to figure out what's going on. Speaking of lever, we have a deal we're about close to closing, kind of like a Morby method as well. We're just getting the I's dotted and the T's crossed for the lender and the gift funds for all that. So
Nice.
now my sober living going, but I don't know which one I really want to focus on. It's a light bulb, right? If you put in a flashlight, you get a little bit more focused, but laser focused.
Yeah.
And I know as I've been an employee, anytime I've been an employee, I'm above average because I focus on what I'm doing and I'm there to do that. But us being our own boss, it's hard to say, do this, do that, do this. I have so many things that, okay, I want to do. So I need to figure out which one of that is. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think if I do private money lending, it's going to open the door for so many, or capital raising, so many doors in so many different situations. Like right now, actually, partnering up as well with Adam Colburn from
Yo,
Tennessee.
shout out to Adam Colburn.
Yeah, his coffee shop, but he's got a sober living house that I'm buying out his partner on.
Yo,
So
congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you. Looking forward to that because my Mount Everest, like Pace has given us for Owners Club, is provide co-living for up to 400 people. I'm at 11 with sober living. This deal with Louver, it'll give us fourplex, so we might have another 8 people there. Then with Adam, I'll have another 8 people there. Gotta figure out what I want to focus on. Do I want to continue talking to agents to get deals to find sub two, to continue teaching them sub two, or try to do wholesale? Wholesale is full time with my W 2. And then PML with my W 2, I can talk to anybody that's not even real estate investors to try to pivot to there. And I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a cheat code that I know Tim Yu is the one that taught me it. Like I called him one day and I was like, "How do you raise capital? Like I see you doing it, but like how?" You know what I mean? Like don't give me like the, "Oh, go network," you know? Like how are you like procedurally are you doing it? And he's like, "Bro, he's like, I'm not even kidding. I literally just talk to everybody about it." And he's like, "I just don't care." Like, if they don't wanna hear it, they're gonna shut you up and change the topic, right? Or you can realistically infer that through from the conversation. You can listen to the tonality in someone's response, right? And you could probably say, "Alright, they're probably not interested. That's okay. I didn't expect everybody to be interested." But you just have a conversation with everybody. If you're talking to your banker, maybe you're depositing a check, right? Have a conversation with them. Yeah, I'm in real estate. I have this check. We actually just flipped the house, or maybe, hey, I raised capital for a house, or whatever the case may be. You just have that conversation, and it's little stuff like that. Like Tim raises capital from his veterinarian. Like he raises money from everybody. Like and people that you wouldn't think too. Like some people you don't think they have money until you're like, "Hey, I have this opportunity." And they're like, "What's the minimum investment?" You're like, "I don't know, like 100 grand." And they're like, "Okay, I can probably do like 2 positions if that's cool." Like, "Okay." Like, sounds good. But it goes back to like, you just have to talk to everybody about it. And you need to have like digital billboards. You know what I mean? Like if so I go on your social media and the first thing in your Instagram bio isn't something related to real estate or like money or whatever, I'm gonna be like, okay, this person's not serious about what they're doing. So if you brand yourself properly, man, like you do anything. I'm a
Right.
firm believer
Yeah.
in that.
Good tips, man. When you're talking to people, one thing that Brenda mentioned, I don't know if we captured in the podcast or not, was instead of asking people directly, "Hey, do you have money to invest in?" You ask them, "Hey, do you know anybody that has it, that has money to invest in?"
Mm.
And if they want to, instead of you, like, bringing them, they're gonna be kinda like FOMO, like, "Hey, what about me? I can do it. Why didn't you ask me?"
Yeah,
But a
what's up with
lot of
me, bro?
people
My money no good here?
but then a lot of people, when you ask them directly, they're like, "Oh, this person wants something from me."
Mm.
And then also Pace talks about third-party stories, so that's another way to read it. So just a tip for you, if you're not doing it already, say, "Hey, do you know anybody interested in investing?" Hopefully that helps out.
Dude, I'm writing that down right now. That's a great way to structure it. So what is your plan, man? What do you think like long term, what do you think you want to ultimately end up doing?
That's gonna be answered on your podcast because I still gotta figure it out.
Ah, okay, okay.
So, right back at you. So we're here interviewing you. What's your long-term plan?
Ah.
Well, first,
So
let's go back a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Where are you based at out of?
I'm based out of Tampa. My main market is Houston, Texas. So I do a lot of Florida and Texas and real estate investments.
You've been Tampa the whole time?
No, I was in the military. My wife and I both were. We're both in the Air Force. So yeah, my wife and I kind of bounced around a lot. We met in Italy, and then we got orders to Korea with a follow on to Japan, and then ultimately COVID happened, and so like 30 days from our departure to Korea, they were like, "Hey, we basically got like a order from the Air Force that you guys are gonna get sent somewhere else because they need the manning, they need the manpower." And so we're like, "Okay, where are we going?" And they're like, "Missouri." And we're like, okay." So we spent 3 years in Missouri, after we got, back from Italy, and then, she separated in July of 2024, this, past year, and so as soon as she got out, a week later, we moved to Tampa, and, we bought a house sub 2. 2.5% interest. Um,
Fantastic. I didn't know this story. Cool.
yeah, yeah, we
Congrats.
just said "F it." Like, we wanna be happy. Neither one of us are from here originally, like, my wife's from Michigan, I'm from Pennsylvania, and we were just like, "Bro, like, let's not live in the snow anymore. Like, what do you think about that?" So we're Texas, Florida. We were like, I don't know. And then we both agreed, like, I want to go to the beach a lot. So we decided Florida was a good fit. And it's been a great opportunity. So yeah, it's 6 months in Tampa, basically. 8 months. Yeah, 8 months in Tampa. And loving it so far. But I think he might be joining you boys in Houston here, at least temporarily, you
Hey,
know?
you can have multiple houses, buddy. You're in real estate. Let's go.
Exactly.
Don't limit yourself to one spot. I've been trying to get my wife into that mentality. She's like, "Hey, do you think about moving about Colorado and this and that?" I was like, "Babe, we can have a house in Colorado, in Tahoe, in California, in Washington, in freaking Hampton, wherever, you know? We're gonna
Wherever.
figure it out." That's it. And recently, we're looking at Mexico. It's like, "Hey, there's some nice places in Mexico. Let's get a house there too."
Mexico's nice, bro, especially if you're going, like, in, like, the I wouldn't say, like, the touristy areas, like, maybe stay away from, like, that, but, like, if you can get, like, a really quiet Mexico has some of the most beautiful views in the world, hands down, especially
Yeah.
if you're on the Gulf.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
So much. So it's you and your wife, and you have a newborn now, right?
Yeah, yeah, well, dude, you know what's crazy about that is she's about to turn a year old in, like, 2 weeks. It's crazy, yeah. My daughter Mila, she's, growing like a weed. Yeah, my mother-in-law actually just flew in to, or my in-laws are here, and so she's actually, like, I got the baby monitor right here. My, my mother-in-law is actually rocking my daughter to sleep right now as we speak, but,
Nice,
yeah,
man.
yeah, big family
Congratulations.
guy. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. I'm doing
How's
the
life
dad thing.
changed? How's life changed with the little one to be responsible
Um
for?
It is by far the greatest thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Like, my daughter has given me so much hope, you know what I mean? Like, she's really, like, to see innocence, and it's like, when I held her for the first time, I was like, "I have to be a better person for you. Like, you deserve a good man, you deserve a good dad." And since then, dude, I've just been better as a in relationships, like, as a dad, as a husband, as a friend, as a coworker. I've just tried to be better all around, and, it's so great, dude. It's like the best it's like it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and it teaches you so much about yourself that, man, if I could only put it into words, like, you don't like, when you start really losing sleep and you're stressed out and, you feel like you're almost stuck in the same place, or, like, maybe you feel like, "Man, I'm just exhausted," or "I'm frustrated," or whatever, right? But then you see your kid come up to you and give you a big hug. All that stuff just melts right away. Like, none of the worries you had anymore. Like, 'cause I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I've had instances in my family where somebody gets sick, right? And all of a sudden, all the little problems that we had, right? Financial problems, relationship problems, all that stuff, you realize that it doesn't really matter. Like, health is everything. If your loved ones are not healthy, then you realize that that's the most important thing, and so it sucks that it takes that, but I unfortunately lost my grandfather right after Mila was born, and, I was super close with him. He was my best friend, and, he was a great role model. Like, he always taught me, he was like, "Bro, when you hold your first hold your first baby boy or girl, it's gonna change you." And he's like, "You have to let it change you for the positive. You have that decision." And, dude, ever since then, I've just been so determined to be a good dude and whatever it looks like. Be a good dad, make good decisions, impact people. Don't just go after the money. You know what I mean? Like, the money is what buys you assets. And then the assets is what gives you wealth. And then wealth gives you freedom, right? You get your time back. And so as long as you don't lose sight of that, you can have such a big impact. And that's what I'm realizing. Like, I love nice things. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I did my first wholesale deal and I bought a freaking all white BMW. Like, that's the kind of person I am. you know what I mean? I love nice things, not from a material perspective, maybe a little bit, but more so from a standpoint of I deserve this, dude. You know, like I grew up in Section 8 housing, bro. I grew up
Oh, wow.
on food stamps. Like I grew up with nothing. You know what I mean? So in order for me to count my blessings, I wanna do something nice. I wanna treat myself every once in a while. And that's okay. At least in my opinion. As long as you're still taking care of business and overall you're being a good person, good human being.
So, good advice your grandpa gave you, man. Sorry for your loss.
Nah.
Um,
It's a gain, brother. It's a gain. He transitioned. He's not in pain anymore, and he gave me some of the best wisdom, you know, on his transition. So I'm honestly I'm at peace with it, brother. But I appreciate your kind words.
and that's good to hear. It's an amazing story, heartfelt, dude. Thank you for sharing. So what got you started? You went to the military in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Um, were you thinking about real estate before that, or was like military a stopgap? What did you plan to be an entrepreneur? When did you start being an entrepreneur?
Wow. Okay. Um, I'm kind of all over the place. All right. So I'll answer the first question. Real estate, I was kind of born into it. My dad was a flipper, so he would fix and flip houses, fix and flip multifamily, and he did it when I was very very young. I think this is probably like '01 to like '03, '04, and then, well, he started amassing some wealth, he just kept reinvesting the profits, and so I think by the time I was, like, 10 years old, he had 50 units, and, yeah, great portfolio, you know, great cash flow, and, and so what does he do? He over leverages himself, right? Because I have all this equity and I have all this cash flow, right? And so he basically takes out a loan against the portfolio and the value of the portfolio. Basically does like a home equity line of credit. And he goes in and he buys more units. He doubles what he has. He buys 50 more units, right? Now he's at 100. And that was, like, December of 2006, December 2007. So I'm talking, like, right before the crisis, the '08 crisis, and, so he gets it in this big loan, and he doesn't realize that if it's a fluctuating rate, he's like, "I'm getting it at, you know, 0.99 APR in the beginning," so he thought he was good. Well, that shot up to, you know, ridiculous numbers, double-digit numbers, which killed the cash flow, which killed, you know, people's ability to pay the rent because he had to increase rents. People are losing their jobs, and ultimately, he loses everything. My dad loses everything. And actually, to take it a step further, he loses everything to the point where, um, his attorneys start stealing from him because they're, like, basically losing all their clients because everybody's going out of business. So then like, oh, it was a whole big thing, and then, dude, basically, as a result of that, and I still don't know the true story behind everything because I was a child. My dad ends up going to federal prison for 3 years on tax evasion because he didn't file his taxes when the '08 crisis happened. So he goes to jail. I'm traumatized, bro. Traumatized about this whole thing. I'm like, I'm just going into high school. I'm in like ninth grade. And and my dad gets, you know, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm grew up in Pittsburgh. And he gets hauled over to West Virginia. And he's in this like minimum security um, type of prison, right? And I don't see him for, like, basically the entire time in high school, and so real estate just kinda fell to the wayside, right? And that was because I was in survival mode, like, this is what I was talking about, like, we went from being very well off, very blessed in the beginning of my childhood to then my mom working she would work a full-time job at night. She would go and clean office buildings, right? I'm talking, like, 14-hour shifts, and then she would get off of that job, she would come home, make us breakfast, make sure we had our lunches packed, put us on her school bus or drive us to school if we missed the bus or something, and then she would go and work at a gas station for 8 hours, and then she would come home and sleep for a couple, and then do it all over again. She did that 6 days a week, and then on Sundays, she would go and volunteer at, you know, like, soup kitchens and shit like that. So, my mom always held it down. Like, she's the reason that I have the work ethic because when you're backed into a corner, you have 2 options. You can either let somebody beat you down and, you know, essentially die, right? And let life do what it's going to do to you, or you can fight back, bro. You always have a chance to fight back. You have a chance to bounce back. And I'm a big believer in second chances. So I watched my mom struggle for 4 years, and then like 2 months before I graduate high school, my dad comes home. He gets out, and so at that point, I had been working. I was playing football, so I'd wake up for school at like 6 o'clock. I'd be at school by 7. I'd be at school until maybe 3:30. I'd then go to football practice until 5. And then right after football practice, I'd have my buddy drive me all the way to my job, which was like 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away, something like that. And I'd work until 9, 10 o'clock at night at a shoe store, right? I was selling shoes. And then right before my mom was going in for her warehouse job to go clean, she would come pick me up from work, take me home, and then she'd go work the warehouse job, and then, basically repeat the cycle. And while I was working that job, man, I had some really great people that I worked with. One guy basically was telling me, "Hey, if you're always looking for an opportunity, it's going to present itself. But if you're always looking for a problem, that's what you're going to get." And I didn't understand what all that stuff meant back then, because I'm thinking about girls and sneakers
Right.
and, like partying and doing all this crazy stuff. And ultimately, all of that stuff played a massive role into the college that I was able to get into, right? So I'm applying to all these colleges that all my friends are going to, and they keep denying me because I was a C student, bro. Like they weren't going to take the chance on me. And so ultimately, I don't get into any of the colleges that all of my friends are now leaving for.
Wow.
And so my dad sits me down and he's like, "All right, bro, like I know I haven't been here for a while, but let me at least try to like help you on this." And so we sit down and my dad and I plan out my future. Like from the time we were sitting in that kitchen table until I'm 30 years old basically. He's like, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go in the military. It's going to give you the structure that you need. It's going to weed out all your bad habits. You're going to become disciplined. You're going to understand what focus means. You're going to learn all these amazing traits. And then when you get out, if you're still willing to do it, you could get into the real estate game with me, right?" And so at first I'm like, "Okay, this sounds like a good plan." And so I leave for basic training in 2016. Ah, so many yeah, so I tear my rotator cuff. Football's out of the window. I sucked at football anyway. Don't get any scholarships. Don't get into college because I'm a C student. And my dad's like, "Dude, go into the Air Force. I've got a buddy who's a recruiter. He can help you out." So I go talk to this ex recruiter, and the guy's like, "Hey, I would recommend the Air Force or maybe the Coast Guard." He's like, "Coast Guard's kind of lame, but you're always on a nice base because you're on the water." He's like, "Air Force, you could really go do some cool stuff. You could go see the world. They have a lot more bases and they treat you fairly. It's not like you're going to be sleeping out in a tent like you would in the Army or the Marines." So I'm like, "All right." So I go in the Air Force, and again, I'm a C student, so I don't have great choosings of what jobs I can do because it's based on your an aptitude test called the
Mhm.
ASVAB. So I
Yep.
take the ASVAB, and I think I score like a 50 or something like that, which is not great. And it was because, dude, again, not being disciplined. The night before the ASVAB, I was hammered. I'm like hammered, bro. I'm at this party, and I wake up in the morning and I get the ASVAB at like 7 o'clock in the morning downtown. And I live like an hour from downtown. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm throwing up on the toilet. I wake up. I wake up to my phone buzzing, basically saying, "Hey, get ready, go take a shower, go put on this shirt on." And so I waddle my way upstairs. I take a shower. I knock on my dad's door. My mom answers. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, uh, "Can I take the car downtown?" And she's like, "I have work." "No, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, I have to go take that Air Force test, right?" And so ultimately I get in the Air Force and they give me a shitty job because I didn't study for the test. I didn't put any preparation into it. And that's a 6-year learning lesson of me working as a cop in the Air Force. I worked 14-hour shifts. I carried 50 pounds of gear. I
Wow.
carried a fully automatic assault rifle with 210 rounds every day, day in and day out. And it was a constant reminder that I didn't have discipline, that I'm here because I fucked up, nobody else. And, I took it very seriously, bro. I always told people, like, we'd be sitting on post for, like, 13, 14 hours. I'm gonna be a real estate investor. I'm gonna do all these cool things. I'm gonna buy all this cool stuff and give back to the community and be that person I didn't have when I was a kid. And people would look at me like I was freaking crazy. I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad in a nuclear security room, right? Like where you can't even bring a cell phone in there, otherwise they arrest you, bro. And I'm like, so I'm stripped, I'm deprived of all type of reading material. But as long as as it's a book, you were allowed to like sneak it in your lunchbox. So I would sneak Rich Dad Poor Dad in my lunchbox and I'd read it every single day. And I would read what Robert Kiyosaki was talking about. He's like, "Hey, don't be the poor dad, be the rich dad. Get the money, invest it into assets, assets that make money for you. That way you can buy back your freedom, you can buy back your time." And so I would just like repeat all this over and over again. And then I get stationed overseas for 3 years. End up meeting my wife, and I lose track of what I'm gonna do. I stop reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm partying more often, like I was in high
Women.
school. They right. So I'm well. In my wife's defense, I was doing it before I met her. Uh, she's the one that actually tamed me and calmed me down a little bit. But dude,
Yeah,
every
it's a joke. My
weekend,
wife, babe, I know you're editing this. Yeah, no, I'm just joking.
yeah, just joking too. If my wife sees this, but yeah, dude, I just like I fell off the wagon for 3 years while I was overseas. I did a lot of partying. I was stationed in Italy, and so I was in a different country every weekend. Um, and I loved it. It was amazing. I got to experience all these different cultures, and I had such a profound respect for people of all walks of life as a result of that experience. And but while I'm over there, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I got orders back to the States now. I need to really focus on my future. And so I have a talk with my wife one day, and I ultimately decide that I'm going to be a real estate agent as soon as we get back to the States. And so I'm like, okay, here's the plan. Once I get certified at the duty position at the new base, I'm going to go out and get my license on the weekends. I'll do the course, and I'll take the test, and I'll ace it, right? And I went to go do it, and something just told me not to do it. I don't know what it was. I just felt an overwhelming. It wasn't like I wanted to quit. It was like, this will take you down a path that you don't wanna go down. I don't know what it was. I just had a feeling, and I called my wife, and I was like, "I'm not doing it." And she's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I'll not this," basically, you know?
Yeah.
And, and so I went back into it, kept reading books, keep doing the thing, and ultimately, I find Jamil's video. That gets me into wholesaling. We do that for about a year. We go to Squat Up Summit. I get around a bunch of movers and shakers, start seeing what is possible when you get out of your bubble and you start putting yourself in the right rooms. And, yeah, I'm proud to say that we've raised so much freaking money to do good things for people as a result of me saying no. Like me saying I'm not going to do something actually led me down the right path. So I would say saying no isn't always a bad thing, but I'm super blessed to be here, man.
Good. Fantastic story. We got some similarities there. I almost went to the Navy. I took the ASVAB test.
Yeah.
I don't know what my score was, but they did offer me a job to be in the nuclear submarine for like 6 months out of the year and like a 40K bonus at 18. I was like, I don't
Dang.
want to be underwater for that long. Mm.
No, you know what's funny about that, Edgar, is Mike, my partner,
Mhm.
his dad was on a submarine for like 30 years, bro.
Oh, wow.
He was like an admiral. He was a '06 in the Navy. But yeah, his dad's the reason I went into the military because I saw the success that he had. He ended up going and working for the Pentagon and doing a bunch of cool stuff, some contracting stuff. And his mom was super, super high rank too. I think she was like E8 or E9 or something, enlisted in the Navy as well. And so I had like these really great talks with them, and they were like, bro, don't go into the Navy. It's a bunch of weird dudes sleeping in bunk beds on a boat for 12 months, you know? It's like, you don't wanna do that, like, we see how you
Yeah,
like to
you're
live your life, like
the Ubers for the Air Force, huh? No?
yeah, yeah, exactly, bro. They're like, "Trust me. We both collectively have done, like, 50 years in the military. Do not go to the Navy, go to the Air Force." So, yeah, that's funny though. That would have been funny, man. You're like, all right, I'm gonna get join this Navy, and then you sit in a submarine for 8 months at a time.
Yeah, that would've been crazy, man. Back then, like, wireless internet, nothing, the way you're saying, being in nuclear, none of that, no way. I don't think so I didn't do it. Um, and then real estate, I actually took my course for real estate agent. I did, like, the first 3 sections, and I was like, "Man, this is so much red tape," and I was watching Pace, and he's like, "Yeah, you're so limited to be a real estate agent. If you're a visionary, you shouldn't be a real estate agent." I was like, "Yep, okay. I'm just not doing it."
Yeah, literally. And you know what's funny is I keep getting pressured by Liuver to get my license. He's like, "You could be an EXP agent and work with me," and I'm like, "I'm good, dude." Like, I got here by saying no to real estate agent. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say yes to it now. You know. Mm-mm-mm. All right, I
Right.
gotta ask. Hot take, real quick. What do you think is one controversial take about real estate that you have?
One contrast um, I guess it's not isn't yeah, some people make it look easy, but it's not if you're not consistent. It's not something you can just do real quick and then walk away and have things okay, rentals. Number one thing, rentals, you know? You're having a rental, you're not gonna make money off of one rental unless you do
Yeah.
a sub 2 like Paul did, but that's a 1 in a 100,000 deal. I had a rental, was making $600 a month cash, and after 2 years, we broke even just because of little repairs here and there that added up. And then project
Mm,
management, not project management, property management fees. If you're gonna get rentals, you gotta get a bunch. Don't expect to be making money off the cash flow. That's a long-term gain to be able to make, wealth over appreciation, and not all properties appreciate. I had a townhouse that took 20 years before it finally doubled in value. When
that's
Pace has
real.
a house that he buys and a year later is doubled in value. So an $80,000 townhouse purchase isn't that smart if you wanna start off to real estate. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. You've lived it. That's how you know.
Yeah, man.
That's
And those,
great.
HOA fees for the townhouse, it's $300 a month is just the money down the drain, really.
That's
It's nice, you don't have
insane.
to cut a yard, but your yard is tiny, so, get a yard and pay somebody to cut it. It's usually be cheaper than the $300 a month.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Um, so real estate, you kinda had a good and bad situation. You realize that it could be very good, but if you do some things incorrectly, that it could easily fall apart bad, and that was a national crisis, but, um, how's your dad doing now with the real estate? Is he back in it, or is he
No, he is not in real estate. He works a normal W-2 job. He's an employee. He's got an employee mindset, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, that's fine, just curious. So,
Yeah.
what advice do you have for somebody starting that wants to start to be an entrepreneur?
I would say that a lot of people do a discredit to themselves because they get stuck in that learning process. I'm going to read the next book, I'm going to watch the next podcast, I'm going to go to the next event, I'm going to invest in the next mentorship or mastermind, but they never end up actually taking action. I think there's a statistic something like over half of the people that attend real estate conferences have never done a single transaction in their entire life. And I think if you look at it deeper, I think the people that have done more than 3 transactions is, like, less than 10%. So, if you really wanna do something, you have to just take action. If you get stuck in analysis paralysis where you just, like, constantly wanna learn, you're never gonna get anywhere. The most I've ever learned is by going out and doing the stuff, right? Doing something that I don't know how to do and then being educated on that, right? So either being educated from a partner or getting educated from the deal, from a mistake that you made. I'll give you a great example. I negotiated on a deal that we did, a wholesale deal, that we would pay the back taxes on the property, right? And because the seller told me, "Hey, I owe about 7,000 in back taxes. If you guys pay that off, like I'll sell it to you sub 2." And I'm like, "Okay, great. That's a banger deal. That's a 30K assignment, easy." Right? I didn't do my due diligence in actually going to the courthouse and pulling the tax records and seeing how much they actually owed. And so when I signed that document, what I really signed for was 30,000 in back taxes,
Oh,
which was my entire assignment fee. So I made nothing on a deal that I worked on for 3 months because I didn't do my homework. I just put it up to fate. I put it up to chance instead of assuring that I had a process and that it made sense. And so little things like that are going to teach you way more than any book or podcast or mastermind can. Now, do I believe in investing in mentorship? 100%. Because your learning curve is very slow before you do something like that. The reason why stuff like that works is because you get to learn from 30 years or plus of experience that somebody has. So all the mistakes, all the things that they learned by taking imperfect action, you get to actually take. So somebody who's just starting out, just do it. Like, if you wanna get into real estate, figure out what lane you wanna get into, go talk to that person, and figure out how you can bring value, and then bring it to them and make money with them. Where that if you wanna get started as a realtor, go out, get your license. I think in Florida, it's 60 hours. 60 hours, and then you take the test. That's easy. I mean, anybody can do that, bro. I think in Texas, it might be a little bit more, but the reality is you learn more by taking imperfect action, failing forward, and just being a student. Everything that happens, write it down, journal. This is what worked. This is what didn't. Here's what I could do better next time. Do self-reflection. Like everything that we're talking about, I'm writing down in this notebook, like 2 pages. I'm taking notes while we're talking, bro, because our mentor Pace says it best. Like when you take notes, you tattoo your brain. And it's little things like that, like having your calendar set up the right way so that you're efficient, writing things down and documenting and reflecting on your performances, how deals went, how interactions went, like remembering the way that somebody makes you feel. All of these things are super, super important to document so that you know how to get better over time. So that way you have something to compare it to. So I would just say, dude, just do it. Do it and do it to the best of your ability.
I agree. And then if you find somebody that you can do it with, Squad Up Summit, like you mentioned, it's going to be the last week of April. We got tickets. You can use my link. You can use Paul's link. Sign up and help us out. Sign up, go meet some people, meet us, meet people that are doing it. 3,500 people that are planning to be there. If you can't join Sub 2, there's a free Sub 2 group that'll be opening up. You can hop in there and learn from a lot of people that are doing the business and they're going to help you out. They're looking for people to teach. That's how they learn it better. You teach somebody something, you learn it better. And then when you write it down, like you said, you tattoo it to your brain.
Yep, that's right. You guys better be taking notes while Edgar's talking. Show that man some respect in the comments.
Yeah, comment below. So little details on the military.
Yeah.
You went to it financially. Was it a good decision, do you think?
You know what? You know what's crazy about that, Edgar, is I can say yes and no to that. When I first got in, no. And when I was stateside, no. But overseas, I was making almost $100,000 between all my different pays that I was getting, like overseas pay, hazard pay, special duty pay, all these things compounded, especially when I got deployed. Like, dude, you get hazard duty pay. Like, do you know and it's tax free, my boy. Like, I was making 100 grand as a staff sergeant overseas when I was stationed in Italy. Now, is it kind of a unicorn scenario? Yeah, 100%. Like the base that I was at had the highest rates for all of those numbers I just gave you. So, did I get lucky? Yeah, 100%. But it showed me the lifestyle that I wanted to live. Like, every day I woke up in my apartment, I walk downstairs to a cappuccino, like a little bar. I get a cappuccino, and that's how I started my day every day. And I'd go sit out by the water and listen to the birds chirp and have the sun beat on my face. That's the way I want to live my life, bro. And the way I was able to do that is by putting in a ridiculous amount of time and ultimately taking risk for myself. Like just taking a risk, bro. Like nothing in life is a sure bet. It's a sure thing that it's gonna happen. There's so many variables and so many different ways that life can happen. But if you just have that belief that you're gonna make it no matter what, you will. And, so the military gave me that. It gave me that structure, but did it pay a lot? Not really, bro. I went and you know what's crazy? Okay, so stateside, I'm in South Carolina. I made probably $1,500 every 2 weeks. I go to Italy, I'm making 100 grand a year. I think I was at like 97 was the actual number a year, right? Same rank. I come back to the States and I'm making 50 grand a year.
Oh, wow.
Like it was night and day difference, dude. So I don't know. The What the military does is it provides you with the discipline to not mess up your money, right? Like I know like I'm guilty of it, right? Like you get your first big check and you start getting some stability in life and you go out and buy a brand new car, a brand new house, brand new this, brand new that, brand new wife, you know? It all adds up. It all adds up really, really fast. And the military taught me that, like, live below your means. Like, if you make $1,000, you should try to save $500. And, that type of mentality of always rationing, always making sure that I'm putting stuff aside for when it pops off, because shit's gonna hit the fan one way or another. And, our in our community, we call it our war chest, right? Like, when you're putting money aside, you go to that war chest when it's time to go to war, right? When Uncle Sam comes knocking for taxes or, a family member gets sick and you have to pay for their health care, right? All that stuff is why you build a war chest. And that's what the military taught me. So, did it pay a lot? No, but it paid dividends regardless.
That's good to know. Just I was on the fence when I wanted to go, but my brother ended up going. Um, but I was really on the fence to going because there's a lot of things you don't know. So for people that may be listening to this that are thinking about going to the military, I guess you would suggest for discipline, it's a big thing. To learn finances is a big thing. And if you really want to make some good money, it's better to go overseas if you have that option.
Yeah, absolutely. And another good thing with the military is they provide a lot of training for that stuff. You just have to seek it. You have to go out there and ask about it, right? So I know on every Air Force base, they have what's called an Airman and Family Readiness Center, AFRC. And in the AFRC, you can actually go in and take classes about financial literacy. They'll teach you about taxes, they'll teach you about budgeting, they'll teach you about everything you can need to know about money, investments, stocks, bonds, CD, like everything you could possibly need, they have a class for it. But you're not gonna hear about it unless you ask about it. So all the like that's why that imperfect action is so important because you just have to like keep asking, well, what if I could do this? What if I could do that? And then just chasing it every single day. And that's for education, that's for anything. But yeah, shout out to the military. They really did they might not have paid the most, right? And I knew that getting into it. I think everybody knows like, hey, like not a short-term play for sure. But yeah, it's the best, dude. It's if you need that discipline like I did, it is the best decision you can make. And I don't want to put him on blast, but I've got a brother who's a few years younger than me, and we basically have the same exact upbringing. The only difference is I live in Tampa. I have my own house. I have my own car. I have a family. I have a fenced in backyard, right? And he sleeps in his girlfriend's house that her parents bought for them. And I would probably be doing something similar if I wouldn't have had the same success. I wouldn't have had the same drive or motivation if I didn't join the military. I'd probably be a bum like my brother. No offense. I love him to death, but he's a bum,
Yeah.
straight up. So
No,
do it.
cool, man. Yeah, great information on that. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people want to be on the fence, and that's good to know. Now that you're out of the military, do you still get like medical benefits or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do. I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that basically sat me down and they were like, "Hey, the entire time you're in the military, document everything that happens to you physically, mentally, and spiritually, right? Take note of all of it. And that way, when you get on the back end, you can apply for disability for the stuff that is wrong, right? And so I listened. That was the first conversation I ever had with somebody when I got to my first base. He was like, "Take out your phone," and I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Open up your notes and type in Air Force Health," right? And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "For the next 10, 20 years, every time something happens to you, you roll an ankle, you mess up your finger playing flag football, like, you jam your finger, you fall and scrape your knee when you're running on the track, write all that stuff down." And so I did. And when I got out, I was like, "Hey, this is what happened to me." And I applied for disability and they gave it to me. And so yeah, I'm 100% covered for all of my medical stuff, fortunately. But again, it's because I took action. That the process of getting those benefits took me a year and a half, almost 2 years. Like it was a lengthy process, and there was a lot of times where I could have quit. I could have threw in the towel, and I think the majority of people would have. Right? But that's what makes people like you and I different from everybody else. Like, you're gonna have to kill me, bro. Like, you're gonna have to put me 6 feet underground for me to stop moving towards my goals. So you can keep telling me no. You can keep telling me this and that. It doesn't matter, bro. I'm gonna be in your face. I'm gonna be in your face, everything. Hey, what's going on with that? Hey, how you doing? Hey, just following up, see you now. Like, you just have to kill them with kindness, bro. And that goes into everything in life.
Consistency, man. That's the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur, real estate, success in general. Just being consistent, doing the same thing over, taking action wise, not learning.
Exactly, bro.
But great advice for people that are in the military. You're in there. Take notes. If you've already started, you've been there for years. Start from the day that you remember. Start taking those notes and benefit yourself because you see a lot of these veterans that aren't taken care of, that are homeless, that are going through mental issues. And maybe if they had got that coaching that you got, they wouldn't be in that situation. But I don't know enough to say yes or no, but
No,
that
you're
could be.
spot on. You're spot on, bro. And
Uh,
it literally, it's all about just helping each other out. And yeah, anybody watching this, if you ever need any advice or, you know, maybe you need some resources when it comes to the military or being a veteran in general, number one, you guys need to know about the Veteran Crisis Line. You can pull out any phone and dial 988 and hit send, and it'll call the Veteran Crisis Line. They have every kind of resource you could need, from mental health to, location and relocating you and making sure that you have housing. It can help you with making sure that you're able to put food on the table for your family. 988 is the Veteran Crisis Line. Call it if you need it. But yeah, the crisis line's amazing. I'd recommend that. And then my wife just woke up from her nap. Hey, how's it going? She's like, "What are you wearing right now?" I was like, "I had to put a little something on for Edgar, bro. You know." Uh, yeah, bro. But hey,
yeah, hopefully.
I'm here to help. My name on Instagram is at Paul's Investing. I'm an Air Force veteran of 6.5 years. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a father, and I'm here to help. So anybody who ever needs anything, reach out to me, DM me, and I will help you. I will find you the help that you need, especially if you're a veteran. But that's for everybody. You don't have to just be a veteran.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're doing that, man. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud that you're doing that. You're doing amazing things, dude.
Thank you,
Um,
brother.
what are you doing now to try to free up more of your time? So, I know you got through Owners Club, we got an operator. Are you still to keep it running?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's a great point. So we hired a fractional operator, and basically she works like 20 hours a week in the business. Her name's Bernadette Hernandez. She's based out of Miami. Um, yeah, but basically we interviewed like 20 different transaction coordinators slash operators through the top tier TC program, and ultimately we met this girl Bernadette, and she was like a breath of fresh air. Like you ever talk to somebody and they just like drain your mood, and you're just like, oh, like, dude, talking to that guy is exhausting, dude.
The
He's got
world
no
is me,
energy. Yeah,
everything
yeah,
you're
always
doing it.
negative.
Yeah, yeah.
When we talked to Bernadette, bro, she charges our batteries. Like I feel energetic. I feel like I'm like, let's go. Right. And so that was the first thing that we recognized. It was like, all right, we're in a place now in our business where we're doing really well for ourselves. We've secured a lot of our investments. Our family's taken care of. How can we start buying back our time? And hiring an operator to make sure that the kind of the tedious work that she actually enjoys, right? Kind of yin and yang, she kind of fills in all the gaps that we leave in our business. So, for example, CRM integration and maintenance and like maintaining all of our communication with different parties, right? Like a CRM is a client relationship management tool, right? CRM tool. So it's used to talk to a bunch of different people. It's used to automate your social media DMs. It's used to automate your responses under your posts on social media. And that is all key stuff of the business, but it's stuff that I hate doing. Like I'm a visionary, bro. Like I'm out here, I'm the guy shaking hands, kissing babies, making it happen. I'm the guy walking the real estate projects. I'm the guy funding money to fund all these projects. Like I don't have time to log into the CRM and do all that. I thought I did. I tried it before, but I hated it, dude. I got nothing out of it. And back to what we were just talking about, it drained me, right? It didn't allow me to be the amazing visionary that I am because I had to do integrator stuff, and that's just not my avatar. And so we brought Bernadette on, and she's brought, like I said, a breath of fresh air into the business nonetheless. But realistically, she brought us that consistency on that side of the ball that we really needed. And so now the goal we're actively pursuing. Mike and I, my partner, we're both getting executive assistants because Dan Martell said it best in his book, "Buy Back Your Time." Exactly. He's like, "Bro, if you're not hiring an assistant, you are the assistant. Simple as that." And, I kept reading that. I would read that over and over and over again until it became ingrained in my brain. And then what did I do? I sat down and journaled about it, right? And I tattooed my brain when I read that. And I was like, "Okay, so I need an assistant so they can handle the little stuff, setting up meetings for me, emails, like responding to stuff, all that stuff. You could do a lot with AI, but actually hiring a human being is way better." 'Cause they can use AI to make their job more automated, and, frankly, I think AI does a better job sometimes, but you need
Ye
human eyes to actually look at the quality of the product that's going out, and
but
so an
even that,
assistant.
you need
Yeah,
to be able to tell AI what you want.
exactly. Right. So, yeah, so that I would say that's another big way that we're trying to buy back our time. And then we're also in talks with Joe Homebuyer on buying a wholesale franchise, because we really value wholesale because it's just a money printing machine. But what we realize is that it's not something that we want to do full time. So our goal is to create. We don't want to create. We want to replicate. We want to replicate an existing business that's already succeeding and then just put our operator in charge of it. Right. So Bernadette has a great experience in wholesale and the transaction side of it because she's been doing TC work for like 3, 4 years now. Like she's been doing sub two deals since like the beginning of sub two. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I have this person with all this expertise, she loves the paperwork, she's good at the paperwork, and she breathes new life into the product, why would I do it? I mean, like, I'll put the money up for it, you know what I mean? I'll take the risk. If we need to go lease a building and put a down payment on it, I'll take that risk, right? But I know because I know that we need that passive income coming in from essentially just generating pieces of paper and then selling the pieces of paper. Like, if you can do that, bro, like your life's good. And so, yeah, we're looking into automating a wholesale business through franchising, becoming a franchisee, getting an executive assistant to buy back some of that tedious time, and then an operator in the business to do kind of the stuff that I want to run away from and hide.
There's some great nuggets of information there. So, one thing is if you hate doing it, you're going to suck at doing it and you're going to take a lot longer to do it. So,
Yeah.
take his advice and hire yourself somebody that's going to do what you hate doing. Going to this book here, one of the nuggets I'm going to give you, you don't have to read, is if you're worried about how much you should pay somebody to do the job that you hate, is whatever your hourly rate is, 25% of that. So if you're making $45 an hour, it's you divide that by four and there's $11 and change to pay somebody. You're gonna free up your time and you're gonna get away from doing something you don't like doing. People don't want to do things they don't like doing.
Yeah. That's great advice. And it's so true if you think about it, right? Like, even use simple examples around the house, right? So chores. Chores is something that um I it was like ingrained in me as a child. Clean up after yourself.
Military.
Yeah, right? And then you go in the military and it's even more, right? It's like super stressed. Like, you literally, like, you'll have people beat the shit out of you if your shoes aren't straight. Like, I wish I was joking about it, but I've seen people literally get for less. So it's like, when you come from that background and that type of stuff is ingrained in you, you can't lose, bro. You become you become a force to be reckoned with. And again, how you do anything is how you do everything. I know I say it a lot, but dude, I'm just super thankful, man. I'm thankful to be here. I wake up every day happy, which I know a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that. A lot of people call it a luxury, but I think it's a privilege that I've earned. So I really encourage somebody out there who maybe has an idea of what they wanna do, but they're not really sure, just go try it, you know? And then if you become really good at it and you
Oh,
still don't like it, that's when you can quit. But don't quit until you've made a name for yourself and you've proven to yourself that you can do anything.
awesome, man, amazing. Your EA, where are you getting them from?
So, we've been putting out job advertisements on like the typical websites, Indeed, Monster, that kind of thing. And haven't really found somebody that we jive with just yet. I've also been doing some networking just in like referrals, trying to get referrals from people that have had good success with executive assistants, which we've had better experiences with those people than the ones that we put on like Indeed. But to be honest with you, we haven't really sunk a whole lot of time into it because we made that decision like 2 weeks ago. So we're very early in the state. But I think we're gonna go based on word of mouth. Like, we're gonna go with a referral.
I'm gonna go give you a shout out to Rinda Emick. I think she has a bunch of virtual assistants that do EA as well. I'm pretty sure
Mm.
that's who it was. If I'm incorrect, I'll let you know.
Yo, shout out to Rinda. Yeah, I had the chance to actually like connect with her in Boston. I will definitely reach out to her for that. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, sir. What do you need in your business today? What can somebody watching this reach out to help you out with?
Yeah. So I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where all of the deals that I have come to me organically. So I don't need opportunities. What I need is investors to come and invest in our deals with us. Not because we need it. I think that's a bad way of putting it, but um, we have opportunities, right? And we're trying to actively scale the business. And so we just need people that wanna make passive returns on their money that's backed by real estate to come learn something with us in Houston. We're always looking for private money lenders, private money partners to come partner on long-term projects, and, uh, and we're developers too, so anybody that wants to gain some experience on building, right, whether it's a single family house or multifamily, we have those opportunities readily available, always pipeline. Like, We just bought land that we're about to break ground and go shovel ready on here in the next week or 2. So, raising
Congrats.
capital for that. Thank you. Yeah, it's, so we need that. We need people to come and learn, right? If you wanna learn how to build, if you wanna learn how to do renovations, Houston, Texas is the best market. It's like, in my opinion, I think it's the number 1 real estate market in the world. It has amazing appreciation, the zoning is incredible, the people are amazing, and, uh, and it's just it's Texas in general is an amazing state. So, yeah, I'd say if you wanna come learn about Houston, Texas,
From
come,
Houston, baby.
come talk to me, yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. So somebody that wants to invest, like I know my mindset a couple years ago when I was thinking about investing, I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna give out $5,000 for investing, but what if I need it back? What's the minimum you accepting for investing, and what's the, I guess, the term length that they're gonna be without their money before they get paid back out?
Okay, so timeline wise, if we're doing a fix and flip project, it's usually 2 to 3 months for the rehab and then 2 to 3 months to sell it on the MLS. I've got partners that are all agents, so they can list it themselves, or maybe they have somebody that has like a specialty. Like if it's a big commercial deal, then obviously we want to bring in an expert in commercial. Yeah, 6 to 8 months on the fix and flip projects, and then for the longer term projects, like a private money partner, I would say 3 to 5 years is like a really solid investment because that gives the asset long enough to appreciate in value. So then from there, you can basically do anything, right? So I'll give you a great example of that. Like we have this property, it's a single family in Houston. It's on a bigger lot. It's an older one, and we bought it, and what we're gonna do is obviously renovate it so that the price of the asset increases, and then we're gonna hold it, do the BRRRR strategy, right? Refinance, get our money out of the project. But what's great about it is we brought a private money partner in to fund that rehab in exchange for equity in the deal. So they actually own a portion of the deal now. And in 5 years, we're estimating 4 to 5 years, we should be able to bulldoze it and build like 16 freaking units, townhouses. So it's such a cool play, bro. It's kind of like it's like the short term that goes into the medium term that goes into the long term game. And, uh, and so that's what I would say. I'd say, if you guys want to learn about how to build houses, how to be successful in real estate, how to understand the way to actually structure deals so that you always come out on top and you can actually make impact with the money that you do make, and you don't just go waste it on a BMW like I first did. Um, you got to DM me. DM me on Instagram. I am on there all the time. You'll see me putting up stories and showing all the cool things that we're doing. But yeah, I need private capital, bro. Because we have some of the most life-changing affordable housing that we're going to be able to provide for the less fortunate. And we can't do it alone. We need people to come in, fund these projects, and get these veterans and at-risk youth the facilities that they need to be comfortable in life.
That money that they have, it doesn't have to be cash in the bank, right? It can be money in their 401k,
Yeah.
change it to self-directed, get income, tax-free income growth, and business lines of credit. People that have LLCs, you can build up your business line of credit and lend money there and get returns higher than what you're going to be paying back in your interest rate. So don't
Yeah.
think it has to be money that you have sitting in the bank. There's a lot of money out there. There's trillions of dollars in 401k right now that can be out there used to invest here.
You know what's also crazy? You brought up a really great point, Edgar. I didn't realize the power of business credit until I got in our community. I always heard about people talking, "Oh, I get, all these great credit cards and I'm able to get this free money." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it's still debt. You still got to pay it back, right?" But then once I like started doing deals and I got around people like Leuver, they taught me that like it's leverage, brother. Like you can have more momentum in your swing because you're using more money, right? It's the biggest leverage tool. And so once I realized that, I was like, okay, so I can effectively create a real estate deal, create an opportunity by bringing people to fund the deal. And I'm like, so what about if I could just own a part of that property and every deal I do, I can get a piece of ownership? Like that would be a game changer, right? And then you do it a couple times and you're like, not only can I do it, but I can do it fairly easily. Like this is a real business. Yeah, it I feel like I always go off on tangents, man, but
Oh, that's good though. It's good.
it's
This is information that we wish we learned years ago, right?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of our deals are coming from is people that have that business line of credit, right? So I'll give you a great example. You can go out right now and as long as you have a good credit score and no negative items and you actually stack your credit profile the right way so that it's all built out, you have the age, you have the trade line history, you have the good mix of credit, your debt to income ratios like, below 3%, you can go get funded at really high levels. Right? I mean, you can walk into a bank and they could give you 50 to $100,000 on one card. So imagine if you're able to do that 3 times for every bureau. Let's say you get 50 grand each, you go into 9 banks to do it. I mean, dude, you can go and invest that into real estate deals with us and make double digit returns on your money, and it's backed by real estate. So even if we get abducted by aliens and we can't make the payments on the loan that you would be giving us, you're going to get paid out because we're just going to sell the asset and you'll just get the money from that. Like it's really one of the coolest investments if you think about it. You can go to a bank and based on your credit, they'll give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can then go and put that into a real estate transaction and literally be set for life. And you're using none of your own money. OPM, baby. Other people's money
OPM, other
is
people's
so
money, dude.
crazy. Yeah.
Been amazing, dude. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the wealth of knowledge, the military, going from having such a wonderful life with these 50 relevant units of rentals and then losing it all and then just getting
Oh,
your discipline and to being an amazing person you are today, Paul. Thank you so much.
Edgar, thank you so much for having me, brother. It was an absolute pleasure. I'm so excited to
Awesome.
get you on the podcast next week. I'm gonna have some good questions cooked up for you because you always bring the heat on these ones, brother. So thanks for having me. And guys, go follow Edgar the Connector on Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram. We want to provide as much value as we can to you guys. So bring us some value and let's make some money together.
Yeah, even if you don't have the money, you can just, hey, connect us. Let Paul know, hey, I know this person has money. Paul's going to give you a connector fee or finder's fee or some equity, depending on the situation. It won't be not everything's a deal, but you can at least get one. Progress.
That's right.
Just take the step. Go out there, reach out, drop a like, give a comment, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Edgar.
Thank you, bro. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.